Hello, this is Christian. In this video, we'll be talking about expressions and operators in PHP. So the question is, what are expressions? In PHP, just about anything that you write is an expression. The most, precise definition would be anything that has a value is considered expression. Anything that has to do with any type of these operations, like the mathematical operations, when you do addition, subtraction, these are all operations that are considered expressions. And PHP has a special tag for that as well, the expression tag. And then we'll be talking about operators. So these are really important. Every language has them, just basically like math operators. And they're categorized into different categories. And the first group is called the Unary Operators. These operators require only one operand. So here are the most three common ones. The exclamation mark, which is also called the not operator. And then you have the plus plus and the minus minus. These are the increment and decrement operators. An example would be something like that. So the next one is the binary operators. These are the most common ones, and they require two operands. These are just basically your math operators, the plus, minus, multiplication, division, the modulus, and the power. And then lastly, over there, you have on the right, it's called the dot operator. This is also known as a string concatenation operator. We join two strings together. Okay, so that is you require two operands. An example will be like operand 1 plus operand 2. Pretty straightforward. Then we have the ternary operators. Well, this is sometimes called the Elvis operator or the conditional operators, and they require three operands. This looks like that. If you tilt your head, you see that looks like Elvis, right? The curly hair and the eyes. An example that would be like operand 1, question mark operand 2, colon operand 3. Okay, and last but not least, we have these comparison operators. These are plenty of them. These are just your typical comparison operators. You compare two operands together against each other, whether they're greater than, less than, greater or equal to, less than or equal to. You have the double equal sign for equality. You have the three equal signs for strictly or equality. And then you have the not equal, can be written using the two angle brackets facing against each other, or the exclamation mark, which is the not operator up there, followed by the single equal sign. And you have not equality, strict equal, and then you have something called the spaceship operator. So that is something new. You probably won't see that in other languages. Okay, so let's go and let's see how they work in PHP. Okay, in the IDE here, I'm going to create a new file. We'll call it just operators. Okay, so the first thing you want to talk about is these unary operators. Again, these are just the three one I'm mentioning about, that exclamation, plus plus, and minus minus. Okay, so the not operator, it basically you just reverse the result of a true or false result. So for example, if I say a variable called found, if I set that to false, okay, so the value will be false, and if we echo this out, you're gonna get a value of 0 or 1. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but if I were to say echo found, okay, if I do that, you see that if I save this, let's go to the terminal, and if I run this file, let me go to the module 1 first. Okay, and if I clear that, and I'm going to run the script called operators. Okay, you see, yeah, as you can see, it doesn't show anything there, right? So it's kind of hard because the print doesn't print that value for us. It's not that great. So instead of using the echo, I'm going to use a special function called the var dump for variable dump. This is a much friendlier function. It can tell you the actual value and the data type as well. So let me save this and do it again. Down here in the terminal, you'll see that the Boolean, this is a Boolean type, and the value is false. Okay, so now if I were to copy this, well, not copy, but if I go down here, if I put like the not found, so this is like not found, you basically reverse that value from false to true. And if I run this again, okay, so you see that the well, it didn't do, I didn't because I just basically do at the time, I have to assign it to a certain value. And so, I mean, it just happened during the runtime, right? It's not changing that. So I should have done this way. So I put not found. Okay, let's try it again. And so you see that now I reversed the true or the false to true by putting the not in front of it. Okay, so that is how you do a using this not operator. The next one is the increment, and the decrement works the same way. So now if I put not a variable, I call it n is 0. Okay, so if I use like n plus plus, okay, this one means I'm incrementing 1 n by 1. Okay, you're just basically adding 1 to it. Okay, every time. And that's all it does. You either plus 1 to it or minus 1 to it if you're using the decrement operator. So there is a subtle difference between that and putting the plus plus in front of the n. Okay, this is different in the sense that when runtime, during execution time, you're going to increase n after the script, this line has been executed. This one means you increase first before you run this execution here. So the result will be different. Just to prove it to you, I'm going to go here and put here, I could use the else goal now for this statement. Well, let's just put the var dump, it's fine. Var dump and n plus plus here. Okay. And I'm going to do one more time down here. You see the one after before. This is the one after I increase it. And then this one here, I'm going to do it again. I'll copy this too and put it down here. But then I'll put the plus plus in front of it. And you cannot do both front and back. Okay, you only one or the other. You can't do both. So so now let's see. And I'm going to turn these up here off. I don't need those for now. Okay, so we're expecting the first one to be, you know, 0, right? This should be 0, and then after this should be 1, and then here I expect this to be 2, and then this should be 2 as well. Okay, let's see if this is correct. Let's clear the console and run the script. So you can see that the first one, I'm adding 1 to it, but only after this line has been executed. So before I even do that, n will still be 0. So I can use the value of 0 to do my operations. After that, then I increase 1 to n. That's why when I print n afterwards, you see that it's been increased by 1. Okay, this one here, just put in front of me, you increase it before you execute. That's all. So it was 1 before, I increased it first to 2, and then I print that out, and then I just reprint it again without any of the operators, and you see that that's been incremented. So the minus minus will be the same thing. All right, so these are your unary operators. Now let me go to the next one. These are the binary operators. And I'm not going to do the plus plus, the plus minus. Those are, you know, a given, right? It's a pretty straightforward. What I do want to cover though is the equal sign and the three equal signs. So if I do, you know, A equals 1 and B equals 2, okay? And then, oops, if I were to dump A equals B, okay, expected to get a false because this is not true, right? A is not equal to B. And if I do another one, if I do A is, so if I do like A is equal to B, this is also false, right? Both should be false. This is what's called the equality operator. Both are. Check for equality. This is a strict equality. Okay, this means only checking for values. This one here, values and data type. Okay, they must equal. So when I run this command in the terminal, let me clear this terminal first. Now if I run this, you'll see that they both are false as expected because the values are not the same. Okay, so now if I change, b equals 1, if I save this and run it again, you see that now both are true, right? Because the value is 1, 1, so they are equal. And this part here, they both equal 1, 1, and they're both the same type. And because they're both, integer values, right? And you can verify that by using the get type, okay? And so, for example, I can do another one here just to show you that. If I do a get type of A, okay, equal to get type of B, they should be equal, okay? So let's see if I run it again. Okay, so you see that they're both equal because they're the same type, right? So now if I change B to, say, 1.0, so this is now a float or a double. This is an integer. The first part should be true because this only cares about the value, right? So it's still 1, it's still 1. The zeros doesn't really matter. In this case, still 0, it's still 1. But the second one should be false, right? Because it's no longer the same data type. And the third should also be false. So if I do that again, run down here, and you see that the first expression is true because the values are true, but then the next is false because even though the values are equal, the data types are no longer equal. Okay, so this is for strictly type equality check. If you are really strict about both the data types and the values, then use that. Okay, so that is that one. If you make it, the not in front of it, that means you reverse the value of that, so it should be false, but then you reverse it, so now it's now become true. So if I do again, you see that has been changed to true because we reversed that false to true, right? That's the not operator. Okay, now the other operator I want to talk about is this spaceship operator. Now the spaceship is checking for whether A is equal to B, and if let's just do this. Var dump, okay, A equal B. Okay, this one here checks for, as you can see, it doesn't. I'm wondering if it's not supported by it should be available for PHP 7. The new version. I'm not sure why this one has an error here, but let's see what's gonna happen here if I go ahead and run this. Okay, so it has an error because I think it doesn't recognize by my version here. So this is a fairly new operator, but you will see it sometimes. So I can't run it here, but I guess my version doesn't support this. I'm very surprised. So what this does is basically you're comparing A against B, okay? Compare the values. If A is equal to B, then you return a value of 0, okay? So 0 means they're equal, okay? Now if A is less than B, then you get a -1, okay? That means A is less than B. If you get a B is larger than A is larger than B, then you get a +1 or just 1. A is larger than B. So you can use this to help you code really friendly and very fast. But then again, it doesn't support my version, so I'm very surprised. But that is what it's used for. No, I think I have too many equal signs. It should support that one. Well, still doesn't do it. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah, so I guess it does. Okay, in my syntax it doesn't like it, but only a PHP, right, which is fine. I put 2 equal signs here. So you can see because they're equal, you get a 0. Okay, if I put, this is like 11, okay, I should get a 1, right? So you get a 1 because you know that if I get a 1, then I know that A is not equal to B. I know that A is larger than B, right? And vice versa. If I put like here 111, then you should get a -1 because now it's less than A is less than B. This is very, very helpful, very quick, because you can check for if A equals B. If it's not, is it greater or is it less than? So it takes, makes it really, really short. Okay, so one more operator is the concatenator. This is the dot operator. And this one here is used quite a lot in PHP when you combine 2 or more strings together. So you need at least 2 operands. So if I do, for example, let's just say a variable. Let me turn all these off here. And if I do here a name, let's go to hello. Okay, and then I have class PHP. Then I can combine them together. Do a var dump again. I put name dot class. Okay, so I'm going to get the word hello PHP, no space in between, because I didn't put any space in between. Okay, so I get hello PHP, no space in between. It's a string type with 8 characters. That's what it tells me. All right, if you want to put space in between, then you can either do this, right, or put a space before PHP, which may not look nice, right, because you may use it in other places. And so the best way is to put here, you combine that with another character, space character, and you join all 3 strings together. All right, so it's going from left to right. Right, so you can join this together with this first, so you get a hello with a space. You join that, you get hello with PHP like that. So then if you run it again, you get the phrase hello PHP with that space in between. Okay, so this is the dot operator. Is used to combine strings together. Now in JavaScript and Java and many other languages, the dot here is used as a an object. Okay, we use object, it's object notation. So in Java, you see that it uses the plus instead of the dot, like this. Okay, and not in PHP, because if you do that, you get an error, because this plus sign is always used as a numeric for numeric operation only, for addition only. So you can't use it in PHP. Okay, so be careful of that. It's the dot notation. All right, so those are the operators. I think then one more I need to cover is the ternary operator. This is the ternary. Okay, this is the Elvis operator, that one. So say that I have 3 variables again. I call A. Okay. A, B, C, and then C would be like blank. Okay, so usually you assign a value to C. So you can say something like if A is less than B, then C should be A, otherwise C should be B, right? That's what it's trying to do. So you say C is equal to, okay, you need to assign that to some place. So the operator goes on the right side of the equal sign. So you can say, you can do a comparison. So you say A is less than B. Okay, so if A is less than B, you compare that operation. If that is true, you put the true parts right here. If it's true, then return A. Okay, otherwise return B. Okay, so that's what it means. So if A is less than B, then return A, else return B. I should put a $sign here so we know those are variable names. And so in this example, we're expecting C to be equal to B because B is the larger one, right? So if I do a var dump of C, okay, save that and go down here to a terminal, clear my screen, and then run it again. So you see that C has a value of 2, which is B, okay? Because this is not true, right? A is not larger than B, so therefore this is the true part didn't happen. It's false, so therefore returns false instead. Okay, so that's what it means using the this operator. You do a conditional expression here. That's why it's called the conditional operator. So you test a condition here, and then this is the then part of the if and else, right? If else then return this. Otherwise, return the other one. Okay, so this is a shortcut for this function, these statements here. We'll learn about these later in the code, in the course, but so that's the ternary operator.